Good morning, Deepak. Good morning. Am I audible? Okay, okay. Thank you. Good morning. How are you? How was the morning today? Fine. Okay, okay, okay. So, completed your puja and all. Today is like ninth day or 8th day. Durga Ashtami. Okay, okay. 8th. So there, in your place and all, like in the nearby areas, it would be the huge celebration, right? Great. So you'll get the blessings of Maa Durga. So it's good. It's good. Get her a blessing. Let she bless you with all the success. Uh, okay. Coming back to our class from where you will get the success. Until unless you will complete this syllabus, there will be some area where the performance will be lacking. So it will be a bit different from that perspective. Blessings are okay, and Ma Durga's blessings are even if you will not study, you will crack. Okay, so try to get her blessing along with the preparation that you are doing. Continue that study, continue learning. And have you written the answer? I told you to rewrite that answer. Have you done that? Okay, okay. I know you would have. It's okay. It's okay. So today, what we have to do is our area of concern are topics that we have to complete today. First one was the same Pallavas and Chalukyas ka conflict and the contribution of Pallavas and Chalukyas in the field of culture. So we do have their contribution in architecture mostly. So we'll study that. We'll make some notes also. We'll try to write down some important points and we'll cover that first. Second, we will be trying to reach the early medieval portion. So this transition phase should be covered so that very successfully we can venture into the area which is known as a tripartite struggle or the struggle between Palas, Pratiharas and Rashtrakuts. Uh, Reaching to Rashtrakud is easy because the same Chalukyas that we are studying at their place only, at the place of Chalukyas only, these Rashtrakutas they succeeded. So after these Chalukyas, Rashtrakutas were the one who were their successors in that way. So that area we do have the clarity, but we will try to cover this transition phase so that uh, our important topics starting from this Gori can be completed in a proper fashion. We'll also complete Rajput age, so that will be taken care in the continuity. You do not have to worry about that. Today's session will consist of this particularly my focus is to cover this Chalukyas and Pallavas wala topic today itself. And then if the time will permit, we may go through some of the transitional topics, right? So this is the only motive of today's class, only schedule of today's class, right? Chalo. We'll start from the background. Any question that I might have given in the last class? Anything that I have to ask? Or should I start? Okay, okay, chalo, we'll start. So, starting from this point itself, where we left in the last class, that what was the reason or what were probably the reasons of conflict between Chalukyas and Pallavas. Time period we do know 600 to 800, and I have told you earlier also that we will try to cover up or wrap up ancient Indian history till the time period up to 750 AD. So this is the time period which is almost the end of the ancient Indian history. So we will be covering all other topics also till this time period itself, 750 or 880. This is the ancient India's time limit. From here itself, we enter into the early medieval, and then from Delhi Sultanate, we are already in the medieval. Now, the main concern of us was what were the causes of the quarrel or the conflict between the two. Why we are calling it conflict? It's not a full-fledged war. Sometimes they are just the skirmishes, okay, because the reasons are not so much legal, so much valid that they are annexing each other's empire. No, they are not doing this. They are supplementing the resources only in order to administer their empire, because they do have lack of resources, right? The area is not fertile. The very source of revenue generation in that time period was the agriculture, right? So कहाँ से आप agricultural tax इकट्ठा करोगे? From which area will you be collecting the agricultural tax? The area which is fertile enough, and for that you have to go to Doab regions, you have to go to plain regions, and those regions should be irrigated properly. So sometimes the land or the soil of India does not permit that everywhere it is very fertile. Maybe at some places it is sterile, maybe at some places it is by the name Banjar, barren, or somewhere it is Usar. Have you heard this? Usar, Urbar, okay? So Banjar is sometimes which is very difficult to brought into cultivation. Infertile, ठीक है. So this Usar land, Banjar land, and then there is another name of the land, that is Urbar, Usar and Urbar. Kharaj is the land tax. Kharaj is the land tax. So we are not going towards the taxes now. We are trying to
ना
understand.
सर, वो
Yes.
लैंड का ही क्लासिफिकेशन में बता रहे थे, वो पोलज, परौती, चांचर, बंजर एंड देन ऊसर, वो जो मुगल टाइम्स में हमें ज्यादा प्रोमिनेंट में देखने को मिलता है.
पर खराज तो बेटा लैंड टैक्स है ना.
हाँ सर, हाँ वो लैंड टैक्स है.
ठीक है. तो currently we are trying to understand the nature of Indian soil. So all these factors, they are collectively taken into consideration while we go through any area or any empire of any kingdom or a king. So this region, Deccan Wala region, and region towards the south is not very fertile. Though Krishna Godavari basin, Tungabhadra basin, these are some of the most fertile regions. That's why every king, whosoever will come, their main aim will be first to have that piece of land which is very fertile. So one of the common reason was the supremacy over the land between Krishna and Tungabhadra, okay? And then Krishna Godavari region was also very fertile. Now quarrel over plunder, prestige and territorial resources. This we have already explained in detail in the last class. So to plunder, garner, to collect as many resources as possible in order to survive, in order to administer their own empire. Okay? So, and the prestige wala concept was also there, that we extensively studied yesterday. So from here we will start, and I am taking you towards this topic of Chalukyas and Pallavas. Before that, very quickly, within 5 to 10 minutes maximum, we'll cover this topic. Otherwise, it will be missed. This is the same miscellaneous topic that I'm going to take with you. Why India was called as Jagat Guru? What was the contribution of India? So very brief, बहुत short में, बहुत concisely, I have tried to put forward it in front of you. What you can do is you can read some literature about it, and if you want me to do that, we can also write some of the points, some of the notes here for your information. It can be it can be elaborated, because we are having the points in front of us in different fields that I told you. India was doing very good. India was much ahead of the times in ancient time period. We have already studied this philosophy. Now, apart from philosophy, in science and mathematics also, India was far ahead than Aryabhatta's contribution in mathematics, in geometry and measurement. Similarly, in astronomy, okay, and then medicine, and then geography, and so on. Even in the painting, Ajanta and Ellora. So what we are saying is, in science and mathematics, what were the names that are that belong to this time period and who have contributed a lot in ancient Indian history. The very first name is about Panini. आपको पता है Panini has written Ashtadhyayi, right? And then Kautilya, Arthashastra. These two texts you already are aware of. Then in mathematics, the notation system, the decimal system, use of zero and algebra. It is said that it is considered that they were originated in India, and then from India they went to West Asia, and from West Asia they were reached. They reached far beyond in the Europe also. Are you getting it? So this is the contribution of Aryabhat contribution in the field of mathematics as far as ancient Indian history is concerned. Actually, yesterday I was thinking that I'm missing something. Then in the evening, I came to know that this information I have not shared with you. Then only I prepared it. So I had less time, and I try to try to put some of the points that came at that time into my mind. So this is, I'm not very much extensively satisfied with this slide, but still, it will give you an idea. What I want you to do is, you please try to read some of the information or add some of the information. I can do it also. If you want me to do it, I will do it. So I will take the time to end this Chalukyas and Pallavas wala jo contribution hai, because what I want is, I want that the ancient Indian history wala jo last हम अभी है जहाँ पे है, it should be properly concluded, so that we should be free from that point, right? Okay, so otherwise, if you will take it as a gist, it is the slide is little bit close to the completion. Okay, though it is not elaborative, it is informative. In mathematics, you have understood the contribution of ancient Indian history, and then in geometry and measurement, these are the two names in front of you. One is Apastambh, and second one is obviously the Aryabhat. So Apastambh, what is his contribution? He started this geometry for construction of altars. Altars मतलब जो यज्ञ करने के लिए जो हवन कुंड होते हैं, इनका साइज कैसा होना चाहिए, इनका कंस्ट्रक्शन कैसा होना चाहिए. Remember, initially when we were in the early period of ancient Indian history, we came to know about Sulva Sutra, Griha Sutra. Do you know something? Do you remember something like this? Griha Sutra, Sulva Sutra. Huh? So in that itself, we there was this text where we were trying to understand that in the construction of the yajnas, the information was also given at that time period itself. Here it is bit different. यहाँ पे चीजें क्या है? यहाँ पे the geometry itself for the construction is designed, which was not there. Are you getting it? So whenever it comes to you, so you have to understand that this concept of measurement, which comes along with the geometry, the credit goes to Apastam. So these are the names who have a lot of contribution towards India, and many contribution are credited to these names. So I want you to study at least something about these names, about Panini, some introduction about Panini, some introduction about Kautilya. Kautilya is, you know, everything, most of the things you know about Chanakya, but still there are something which need to be known. And then Apastam, these individuals, these personalities, we know about their contribution, but I want you to study at least something 3 to 4 lines about all of these, right? Apastam are they are extraordinary personalities. They have contributed immensely. They were far ahead of their times. Remember that in the contemporary world, in ancient time period, there was no other person, no other individual, no other personality like them who were trying to think in this way and scientifically trying to innovate something which they are testing, they are doing, they are experimenting, they are testing. Are you getting it? This is what making these people very extraordinary. Okay, so please read some of the information, like a few lines, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, whatever you may consider fit, but at least have some idea about these personalities, who were they, what was their background, what and all are in their credit, that you can write also in this. Astronomy में आते हैं, Aryabhat is there, obviously Macaulay would be upset with him. Yeah, let him be, let him be. I do not consider him in that field. This, see, I have a little bit harsh feeling with the British and British historians, but thing is that I can't do anything right now. What I'm saying is, I can just make the students of history aware, being a student of history myself, that yes, it was like this, it was not like this. Even they also study the same. So it's that things will change when you guys will become, God forbid, I want you to become an administrator. But if you'll become a very good historian, obviously you will bring the change, and the students like you will bring the change. This concept, this interpretation, this understanding, it will slowly and gradually change, because the new generation of historians, they do not have that much of acceptance with all these explanations and interpretation if they are rational. Okay, chalo. Moving next, and then it depends from person to person how they approaches their career. Aryabhat 12 मिहिर, ठीक है. uh, I have written plants and animal classification, and then seasons and weathers. So this was the main classification. These two classification, these two contribution, they have to be separated, because otherwise you will not be able to find out what really he contributed. Because if you will generalize it and you will explain it extensively, it becomes faded. It loses its identity. What was really the contribution? Because identification and classification of plants and animals, it is not something new. Yes, anyone can identify, can classify the plants and the animals, but no, here the things were a bit different. And similarly, these seasons, about seasons and weather. Though earlier also people were knowing about it, but in the early Christian century, as I have told you earlier also, in the first century AD itself, the monsoon winds were discovered. Are you getting it? कुछ हमें पता लगा था ऐसा, है ना? So we came to know, I think in 60s, Hipparchus, 68 AD perhaps, something like this was the date. But you, to be on the safer side, take it as first century AD. In the first century AD, they were discovered, right? So the credit about when we say huh, when we say what is India's climate, what should be the answer? What should be the answer? I'm asking India's climate, or I'm asking about India's climate. And then if again I ask you, yeah, it is monsoonal in rhythm and character, there should be no question mark. Make it very sure, very confirmed. India's climate is monsoonal. And when it comes like this, just uh, you should not get perturbed by the thing that am I correct or am I wrong? What if I am wrong? So do not think all that. What I'm saying is, uh, I'm saying, where was I? I think I have lost this slide. Just wait. Yes, I have. Okay, chalo, don't worry. I'll have the other one. ठीक है. तो okay. Where was I? What were we explaining? Monsoonal, huh? So India's climate is monsoonal in rhythm and character, that we have understood. There should be no doubt. And if I say explain something about India's climate, you can have the liberty to directly explain monsoon uh, climate, India's climate. So it is directly proportional to monsoonal. So there is no need to think anything about what is climate, how do I have to explain India's climate. It is monsoonal, so directly start explaining monsoon, India's monsoon. And what is India's monsoon? Same, southwest monsoon. Now, what is India's climate? Yes, somebody asked you about the climate, to give a definition of climate. So whenever climate will be asked, weather will come along with it. So you should know the difference between weather and climate. What is the difference between the two? Basic difference, basic information. Long term prevailing weather conditions is climate. Okay, कितना long term? How long? 30 years. You can call it decades. Decades, average of decades of weather. Uh, like suppose sometimes we explain weather as the momentary state of the atmosphere, but when we have to explain the climate, it becomes the average of such weathers or changes throughout the decades. तो कई दशकों तक आपने ऐसे चेंजिंग को एक एवरेज लेके निकाला, तो आपको पता लगा कि हाँ मोटा मोटा ये है क्लाइमेट. क्लाइमेट के लिए मोस्टली इज बी अंडर अदर फैक्टर्स, तो मोस्टली एक तो आपका रेनफॉल पैटर्न हो जाता है और टेम्परेचर हो जाता है. We are not taking other factors which are related to it into the consideration. तो डायरेक्टली देखें तो ये दो फैक्टर्स ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं. आपको अफ्रीका का क्लाइमेट पता करना है, किसी कंट्री का, यूरोप का पता करना है, या फिर आपको पोलर एरियाज का पता करना है. यू शुड हैव the annual rainfall pattern and annual temperature pattern. You will come to know that what can be the climate of that. अब इंडिया में जो हवाएं आती हैं, जिनमें इन हवाओं से जोड़ते हैं, इनकी डिस्कवरी होती है 1st century AD. ठीक है. Yes, I have lost that right. Just wait. I will include it. Just wait. So monsoon, हाँ ठीक है, तो समझ में आया. तो this was also done in the 1st century AD. Now here I have to do it. यार ये टेक्नोलॉजी something I call it technology because I'm not tech savvy that much, more of a humanity kind of student. Okay, okay, is it visible? Is the screen visible, Deepak? साइंस एंड मैथमेटिक्स दिख रहा है ना आपको, ये वाली स्क्रीन? ठीक है, ठीक है, थैंक यू. चलो, सो वी वर in this science and mathematics, Panini and Kautilya. Mathematics में notation system, decimal system, use of zero and algebra. In geometry and measurement, it was अपस्तंभ and the contribution of आर्यभट्ट. इनकी contributions किस तरह से हैं? अपस्तंभ contributed regarding geometry for construction of altars. Altars मतलब यज्ञ करने वाले, जिनमें हम यज्ञ करते हैं. अब जो कुंड होते हैं ना, हवन कुंड, उनका कंस्ट्रक्शन, उनका मेजरमेंट. ठीक है. फायर ऑल्टर्स उनको बोलते हैं. आर्यभट्ट रिगार्डिंग ट्रिग्नोमेट्री, तो जो टेक्स्ट है वो उसका नाम है सूर्य सिद्धांत. तो बस आपको इतना याद रखना है, सूर्य सिद्धांत किसका है? इट बिलोंग्स टू आर्यभट्ट. तो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड देन नेक्स्ट एस्ट्रोनॉमी के बारे में, वी अगेन डू हैव आर्यभट्ट एंड देन बारहमीर. आर्यभट्ट का जो ये वाला टेक्स्ट है आर्यभट्टिया, इसमें यूज ऑफ जीरो इसके बारे में मेंशन्ड है और डेसिमल सिस्टम के बारे में मेंशन है. ठीक है. तो देन this is the another one, Brahmagupta. He developed algebra. Baramir, he wrote Brihat Samhita. छोटी छोटी बेसिक इंफॉर्मेशन है, फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन है, फैक्ट बेस्ड है. आप चाहो तो इसको हल्का सा एलेबोरेट भी कर सकते हो इफ नीडेड. अदरवाइज व्हाई हैव आई रिटन इट इन दिस फॉर्म? Because if you want to write an answer, and that answer should compile as much information as possible, and it goes regarding glorifying the ancient past, then these points can be taken into consideration. You can include philosophy, you can include science and mathematics, because in all these fields India was far ahead, right? In the contribution of Aryabhatta, contribution of Panini, Kautilya, and then same in geometry and measurement, this Apastamba, Aryabhatta. Why I'm repeating this? Because sometimes when you are writing the answer, if there will be the variation in these names, and their texts and their contribution, the answer looks a bit better, and then you can use it anywhere. Even they can be asked in the preliminary examination to match the following में कैसे भी they can be asked. It's not very tough. We just have to go through it twice or thrice. It will be done, right? Okay. Then 12वीं in medicine, Charak and Sushrut. Charak was more about the medicine wala part, na? From herbs, from some kinds of जैसे पेड़ वनस्पतियां जिनको बोलते हैं vegetation. So he almost had the medicine out of the vegetation or the plants or the herbs. So Charak, in Charak Samhita, the Charak Samhita is the text which belong to the Charak. Samhita is the compilation, right? You know this. Shushrut का compilation क्या है? Shushrut Samhita. This is again the text belong to Shushrut. तो Shushrut का it is more about surgery वाला part है. बस इतना याद रखना आप. ठीक है? सर्जरी मतलब जैसे आपको मोतियाबिंद हो गया, नाइट ब्लाइंड, सॉरी आपको रात को जो है या फिर आपकी आंख के बाहर जो है वो परत जम जाती है, उसके जमने से जो है क्लियर विजन जो है उसमें दिक्कत आती है. तो ऐसे में दे नीड सर्जरी. आपको वो परत जो है वो बाहर हटानी पड़ेगी, ऊपर से जो कवरिंग कर रही है आंख को. जब तक वो नहीं हटाओगे तब तक वो क्लैरिटी नहीं आएगी आंखों के विजन में. इट इज सेम लाइक आपको कोई फोड़ा हो गया, कोई फुंसी हो गई, कुछ भी, और ये बहुत टाइम के बाद इसको ह्यूमिडिटी और मॉइस्चर मिलता है ना, तो बाद में इसको चीरा लगाने की जरूरत है. क्यों? क्योंकि आपको जब तक इसमें से अंदर से मतलब आपको साफ नहीं कर पाओगे, इसका पस साफ नहीं करोगे, तो इट विल continue in the same direction. Now what is needed is you have to do a small surgery of that. तो कई बार कुछ ऐसी बीमारियां होती, कुछ ऐसी चीजें होती हैं शरीर में जिनको सिर्फ सर्जरी की जरूरत होती है. यू कट, यू टेक दैट शिट आउट एंड यू fix it. Got it? So Sushruta was more or less about surgery wala contribution, and then Charak about herbs, about medicine. You take it like this. Got it? Then is the Atharved. Why have I mentioned this? Because for the very first time about medicines we find mention in the Atharved and not in the Charak Samhita. So they should not be mistaken. हमें दवाइयों के बारे में, इन सब के बारे में अथर्ववेद में ही मिल जाता है. तो that is our earliest source of information, right? चलो, moving towards geography. Then there was the knowledge of navigation, how to navigate. You know, we have long distance trade, sea trade, water trade, maritime trade. So obviously you are knowing how to navigate. So navigation wala tha, and if you are navigating, you will navigate through boats, through ships, obviously. So art of shipbuilding was also there. It along with this contribution in paintings, Ajanta and Ellora painting, because it is also again the contribution of ancient past. Got it? So I have included some of the points. You may jot down some more if you find in some of the sources, and thus you can compile and make it a very good answer, because I am going to give you a question on that where you have to use this information. I want you to have that answer written with you, because if ever it is asked somewhere, or at any time somebody asks you, you should be able to give a very good and very extensive answer. Philosophy wala, you please add in this. And apart from this, religion I have not included, because religion is not time or period specific. So it is spread widespread in the entire ancient period. So what you can do is, जहां जहां से आपको जो जो contribution religion का मिलता है वो इसमें जोड़ सकते हैं. तो the answer can be beautified in n number of ways, right? So why I'm saying this, because आपको जरूरत पड़ेगी इसकी modern में. People will say we will call India Jagat Guru. Then you have to understand why Jagat Guru, what has India done in ancient past, and all those who understand it, read it, or hear it for the first time, they are like bewildered. They do not come to know, yeah, was it really? But they agree on the statement, because obviously if question is having that statement, it will be correct. Okay, chalo. So now, without wasting any further time, we are just moving towards our that last topic of the session. Not this session, this entire ancient in history. Please write down a heading: Chalukyas and Pallavas. आज हम इन्हीं क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन पढ़ते हैं. Chalukyas and Pallavas. You have your notes with you, Deepak? First, we will explain and then we will jot it down. Mrigank has not joined yet. Normally, he joins late. अभी तक तो should we wait for?
Yes, no, actually, sir, I think because it's a very important festival for the Bengalis.
Okay,
Durga Puja. So that's why he will not be able to join.
Sure, it's okay, but he will be missing something. I cannot extensively explain this culture wala portion twice, na.
So it will be recorded. The recorded version will be available to us.
Okay. I told you, na, it's okay. I every time think that okay, leave. Chalukyas and Pallavas. तो बहुत धीमे धीमे पढ़ेंगे, आराम से समझ के इसको, ठीक है? I'll give you the questions also, which you have to write. That's why I'm giving this much time to this. Otherwise, the topic could have been completed by the students themselves. Okay. चालुक्यास और पल्लवास. रीजन पता है हमें और कैपिटल पता है. शुरू करने से पहले यहीं से शुरू करते हैं. आप मुझे रीजन बताओ. Area where they were ruling and their capital, which is the minimum basic requirement before starting. Please. चालुक्यास कहाँ पे रूल कर रहे थे? Where were चालुक्यास ruling? दीपक?
Yes, sir.
कितना टाइम?
Oh, no, sir. Sorry. Sir, the Chalukyas, वो Western Deccan region में वो लोग rule करते थे. And there were three factions of Chalukyas which later emerged, the Chalukyas of Badami. So their capital was that particular place. And ये Pallavas लोग आपके southern Andhra and North Tamil Nadu region and northern Kerala region. So they used to rule that particular region, and their capital was Kanchipuram. Though another important city had emerged during the time of Narasimha Varman, that was Mamalapuram.
City. That अच्छा. हाँ ठीक.
Mamalapuram,
हाँ,
Mahabalipuram today, yes sir. So Kanchipuram and that Mahabalipuram for that. Yeah.
बढ़िया. तो थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड समझते हैं और उस बैकग्राउंड से प्रेरित होगा हमारा ये आर्किटेक्चर. What is that background? See, this is the time period that after 700 AD, in South India, this Alvaras and Nyanas, ये वाला जो कॉन्सेप्ट है ये आपको देखने को मिल जाएगा. मतलब शैविज्म और वैष्णविज्म. अलवर मतलब विष्णु एंड फॉलोअर्स ऑफ विष्णुवाइट, ठीक है. तो इन सेंट्स को क्या बोलते हैं? विष्णु, फॉलोअर्स ऑफ विष्णु. इन सेंट्स को बोलेंगे अलवर, एंड दोज हु आर द फॉलोअर्स ऑफ शिवा, इनको बोलेंगे न्यानास. ये जो संत होंगे, जो सेंट्स होंगे, ठीक है, these saints will be Shivite, ठीक है, and these Alvaras will be who will be the worshippers of Vishnu. So there is a concept in South India now that they are little bit reflected, they are a little bit going towards the Bhaktism. Bhakti wala jo part hai. Now do not get confused with that Bhaktism and Sufism which later emerged in the medieval time. That is different. यहाँ पे एक हल्का सा रुझान जो है वो भक्ति वाला इस तरफ आ रहा है, इस टाइम पीरियड में आ रहा है. और यहाँ पे अलवर संत और न्यानार जो सेंट्स है, पूरा क्रेडिट इनको जाता है. Just because of them, such kind of trend is reaching in the South India. Now, if this is happening there, obviously there will be a place in which the god has to be given their seat. तो भगवान के लिए एक घर बनाने की जरूरत है, और यहाँ से फिर कॉन्सेप्ट शुरू हो रहे हैं टेम्पल्स के, ठीक है. तो पल्लवास और चालुक्यास इस बैकग्राउंड में, उस टाइम में, उस एरा में, उस पीरियड में रूल कर रहे हैं. तो ऑब्वियसली सम ट्रेंड will be taken from this influence, and though both these Chalukyas and Pallavas, इनकी कंस्ट्रक्शन में, इनकी आर्किटेक्चर में कुछ ना कुछ यहाँ से इन्फ्लुएंस आपको मिलेगा. तो जो सिटी आपने बोला, पहले पल्लवास को ले लेते हैं। तो जो सिटी आपने बोला दैट इज करेक्ट, दैट इज ममल्लपुरम, which is modern day महाबलीपुरम, ममल्लपुरम। तो यहाँ पे 7 रथा टेम्पल वर क्रिएटेड बाय देम, रथ टेम्पल। अभी इनके बारे में हम डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे और नोट्स भी बनाएंगे। आप सिर्फ ये समझो व्हाट दे आर डूइंग एट दिस टाइम पीरियड, they are trying to construct structural temples. What they are trying to do, they are trying to construct structural temple जिनका स्ट्रक्चर बहुत अच्छा होता है, एक्सटेंसिव होता है और बहुत ज्यादा ल्यूक्रेटिव होता है। So mostly their goal is this. Now if we have to uh, write down it in the notes, इतना बैकग्राउंड और ये थोड़ा सा जो आइडिया हमने अभी पल्लवास का लिया है, इसको हम एक बार लिख लेते हैं, कवर कर लेते हैं। उसके बाद फिर यहाँ से आई विल टेक द लिबर्टी टू एक्सप्लेन इट। तो पहले ये 7 रथा टेम्पल वाला है, फिर स्ट्रक्चरल टेम्पल्स का। तो स्ट्रक्चरल टेम्पल्स वर द मेनली द फोकस ऑफ पल्लवास, दैट दे वांटेड। आई हैव टोल्ड यू ना, पूरा का पूरा गेम किसका है, प्रेस्टीज का। तो किसकी प्रेस्टीज ज्यादा होगी, जिसने पूरे नोएडा में बहुत बड़ा हाथियों का एक पार्क बनवा दिया उसकी, या किसी ने सिर्फ एक मूर्ति बनवाई छोटी सी किसी शहीद की, somebody who has given his life for the sake of the country। तो किसी के खेत के बीच में छोटी सी कोई प्रतिमा बना दी, ऑब्वियसली एक पार्क वाला। तो ऑल पूरा गेम प्रेस्टीज का है। जो जितने ज्यादा मंदिर बनवाएगा, जो जितना एक्सटेंसिव स्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट करेगा, जिसका स्ट्रक्चरल डिजाइन बहुत अच्छा होगा, ठीक है, वही बनेगा। ठीक है, अच्छा एक चीज और, इन सारे मंदिरों में टेम्पल वॉल्स पे बहुत सारी चीजें लिखनी शुरू हो जाती है। ठीक है, अच्छा हम बाद में जब आर्ट और पेंटिंग की बात करेंगे, तो एक पेंटिंग होती है जिसको फ्रेस्कोस पेंटिंग बोलते हैं। ठीक है, सुना होगा आपने, जैसे कोई दीवार है, उस दीवार पे आपने सीमेंट अभी लगाया है और उस सीमेंट के बाद आपने पुताई नहीं करी, पर इस सीमेंट पे आपने कोई डिजाइन उकेरी है। ठीक है, तो नॉर्मली हम उसको फ्रेस्कोस पेंटिंग बोलते हैं। अभी के लिए सिर्फ इतना समझ लो और इसको थोड़ा सा कवर कर लेते हैं, फिर आगे बढ़ते हैं, वरना सब फैल जाएगा। ठीक है, आराम आराम से करते हैं। प्लीज राइट डाउन द फर्स्ट पॉइंट। बैकग्राउंड थोड़ा बनाते हैं, सेम वे दैट वी हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड। प्लीज राइट इन साउथ इंडिया, in 700 AD, please write down, in South India from 700 AD onwards, the cult of bhakti, the cult of bhakti began to dominate, began to dominate. The cult of bhakti began to dominate. First point. The religious life of South Indian, yeah, the religious life of South India became became somewhat influenced by this bhakti. The credit goes to Alvar and Nyanar saints. Credit goes to Alvaraz and Nyanar saints. Okay, done. Second point. Second point. Besides the worship of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, Mrigank, good morning. You are too late. We have started this architecture of Pallavas, and then after this, after completing this, we will start understanding or jotting down some of the points in the Chalukyas also, right? We have just started. We were explaining Durga Puja. I know Deepak told me, he informed me that this will be the probable reason of your late joining. It's okay. We have not reached too far. We have just started. हमने सिर्फ एक point लिखा है. I'm repeating that point. You may also continue writing. Please write down some of the points. This is regarding Pallavas. We are understanding the background, and the background was from 700 AD. Please write down. I'm repeating it. From 700 AD in the South India, the cult of Bhakti became prominent, and the credit goes to Alvaras and Nyanar saints. Who were the Alvaras? Alvars Deepak. Alvar कौन थे?
Sir, they were the saints who used to worship Vishnu.
हाँ, विष्णु के वर्शिपर थे. They are saints. Alvaras and Nyanas are saints. विष्णु वर्शिपर Alvara. शिवा वर्शिपर Nyana. अच्छा, एक चीज याद रखना. I was thinking that when we'll study about religion extensively, we'll take this topic. But now, have you noticed that the demons or Daitya or Nishachar or Rakshas, they are never anti-Shiva. They are anti-Vishnu. No. Why they are anti-Vishnu? के पीछे क्यों पड़े रहते हैं?
Sir, there is this concept, there is this Puranic concept that they are also not evil but a different race. That's why sometimes we see that there have been benevolent Daityas also, like Bali, Prahlad, amongst those sort of things, and even Vibhishan, who is not a Daitya but a Rakshas. So the concept is that they are different. Now, Vishnu is the god of the civilized people, as in those who has embraced the civilization. That's why we also see that enmity of Daksh with Lord Shiva, because the Lord Shiva has still chose to live in the way he considers the one with the nature. Now, Asuras and the Daityas, they still retain that particular aspect, because of which when the civilization emerged, they were rejected. So the enmity had already grown by then. That's why even they worship Shiva, because even they consider it as Ishtadev, because their very guru, that is Shukracharya, he is also a disciple of Shiva. So more of this, there is a conflict between, if we see it on a metaphorical level, there is a conflict between a forceful civilization and this one with nature. However, there is a reconciliation, because we see that both Vishnu and Shiva, they both adore each other.
Mrigank has also given a very good difference. Very good point. He says even Kuber was the brother of Ravana. So that concept is also can also be taken into consideration. Okay. Have you noticed another change where in earlier period always Shiva was worshipped, and later on Vishnu came? Any reason, any logic for this? And Shiva will continue, but Vishnu will take his place.
So,
yes.
So the worship of Shiva or the Shiva cult, that was a much more simple and simplistic religion. And the Vishnu is when we see that the emergence of majesticity is coming up. So the point which you explained earlier, about that park thing. So when Vishnu is coming, you need to see that people who are actually incorporating Vaishnavism, they are showing that is through that they are showing the prosperity of their empire through that. Moreover, Shiva is actually providing a more simplistic way of worship, though even he has his own majesticity. So in terms of this, Shaivism is much more dynamic, because it can be appropriated as you want. In a very simple religion as well as very different.
Very good, very good. Now we are coming back to the background where we understood that what was happening in the South Indian society. What was the change? The change was towards the acceptance towards the cult of bhakti, right? And we have understood that the credit goes to Alvarez and Yana's change. Uh, from which time period it happened, we got an idea that after 700 AD, the things like this started. Okay, so please jot down. हाँ, 700 AD के बाद का मतलब है this is the 8th century itself, because 8th century का मतलब हुआ 700 से 800. ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है? So if we will write it, it will be written as 8th century AD, say, but when we will write it after 700 AD, समझ आ रहा है ना? If we have to write 21st century, तो कहाँ से कहाँ तक की century को 21st century बोलेंगे? What will be the date? I want you to explain me what is 21st century. तो 21st सेंचुरी को आप कहां से शुरू करोगे और कहां तक खत्म करोगे? टेल. तो 2000 से आपने लिया इसको, 2001 से, राइट? 2000 से शुरू कर दिया इसने आपको. मृगांक इज करेक्ट, मृगांक इज करेक्ट. 2000 से 2099. हाँ, तो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज इट इज द सेम. व्हेन वी आर राइटिंग इन न्यूमेरिकल फॉर्म, वी विल राइट इट 1700 सॉरी 700 700 AD. तो 700 के बाद से हम लोग चलेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली इट इज 8th century AD. तो आप बिल्कुल सही हो.
So I would beg to differ. It should be 701 only because 7th century पे खत्म हो जाती है, इसीलिए सर that is 601 to 700. 7th century तक, so that is 700. 8th century तक यानी कि 800 पे वो जाके खत्म होगी. So that is why it should be 701 to 800. क्योंकि सेंचुरी का मतलब भी वही है सर कि वहां पे वो खत्म होगी. That is why it is a century. तो 1 से लेके 100 तक.
I have an agreement with Mrigank where he says from 2000 to 2099.
मृगांक ने जो बोला है सर वो एक्चुअली ये 20th सेंचुरी से उसने स्टार्ट कर दिया बिकॉज वो 20th सेंचुरी है सर और वो he hasn't reached yet to 21st क्योंकि वो 2099 में खत्म है. But how it can be 21st century?
We are writing after 700 AD. We have started writing like this.
इसलिए 701 होगा ना. 701 होगा ना.
700 के बाद से शुरू किया तो 701 ले लो आप उसको. ठीक है, न्यूमेरिकली हम उसको एक्यूरेट नहीं लिख रहे. हमने जैसे आपने लिखा 8th century AD, तो अगर हम इस तरीके से लिखते हैं तो ये सही है, करेक्ट है. पर आप न्यूमेरिकल फॉर्म में लिखोगे तो आप लिख रहे हो आफ्टर 700 AD. तो 700 के बाद मतलब 701 से ही शुरू होगा. ठीक है, तो उसके बाद आप उस टाइम पीरियड को आगे ले जा रहे हो. तो whenever it comes, see, writing this is bit safer when you are writing like this in around 7th century, around 8th century, 9th century. So in the mid of the 8th century, तो कई बार whenever you are not having specific dates with you and you know that in the first quarter something like this happened or in the first half of this century something like this happened, so you write it like this only. It is bit safer. So sometimes it saves us from the kind of situation where we feel that yes, it may be wrong or I don't know whether the entire answer will go in the same direction. समझ में आ गया? बस तो वैसे ही है. We are writing in the first half of the century or the first quarter of the century. So I actually take this course. Yeah, whenever I do not have the exact date with me, I try to write like this. So it becomes bit safer. तो वहाँ पे highlight नहीं होती चीजें कि कहाँ पे आपकी mistake हो रही, कहाँ पे error है. तो whatever answer you have given in the comment section, I have the agreement with those answers. Where Deepak is saying 2001 say 2100, obviously it is that. But when Mrigank is saying from 2000, so I mean by this that he wants to extend it beyond 2000. And again, with this concept, this statement is also correct. But I will also suggest you for the same at the same time that whenever you are writing answer, do not write in numerical forms these dates until unless you are very sure. किसी राजा का कोई एक रीजनल टाइम पीरियड है, कब तक उसने मतलब कितना साल उसने शासन किया है, हाउ मच इज द टाइम पीरियड व्हेन ही रूल्ड, और वो हमें एग्जैक्टली पता है तब तो ठीक है. अदरवाइज मेक इट लाइक दिस, फर्स्ट हाफ, फर्स्ट क्वार्टर, सेकंड हाफ और लाइक दिस थर्ड क्वार्टर. ठीक है, हाँ, केवल जो डेट्स बिल्कुल कंफर्म है, जैसे आपको पता है अलेक्जेंडर केम टू इंडिया इन दिस टाइम पीरियड, राइट डाउन द डेट. बट इफ यू डू नॉट नो, राइट डाउन द सेंचुरी. और some idea as first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, like this. Chalo. Moving next, please write down Pallava kings constructed. हाँ हाँ हाँ. Now we let us start from the Pallavas. तो आप समझ लो, पहले हम पहले लिखेंगे पल्लवों ने क्या क्या किया, what and all they constructed, and then the same we will do for Chalukyas. Later on we'll start explaining them, right? तो पहले इनको एक बार लिख लेते हैं. Please write down Pallavas constructed stone temples in large numbers from 700 to 800 AD. Stone temples from 7 to 800 AD for housing these gods. ये जो भगवान है इनको बिठाने के लिए, इनको घर देने के लिए, मतलब मंदिर बनवाए उन्होंने, आप ऐसे मान लो. टू हाउस फॉर हाउसिंग दीज गॉड्स. Next, most famous of these are the Rathas temple of Mamallapuram. Most famous of these are the 7 Rathas temple. लिख पाएंगे? Most famous of these are the 7 Rathas temple of Mamallapuram. Next statement. Mamallapuram क्या है? महाबलीपुरम. हाँ हाँ हाँ. Grade goes to him only. We will jot it down. Next point में लिखो. Built by the king Narasimha Barman. Built by the king Narasimha Barman. Who founded the port city of Mamallapuram. Who founded the port city of Mamallapuram or Mahabalipuram. So Narasimha Barman founded Mahabalipuram and he constructed 7 Rathas temple at Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram. Done. Next point. Pallavas have constructed many structural temples. Pallavas have constructed many structural temples at their capital Kanchi. At their capital Kanchi. A good example is Kailashnath temple. A good example is Kailashnath temple. Built in around 800 AD. 7 Rathas temple at Mahabalipuram. Structural temples. और इसका एक एग्जांपल हमने लिखा कैलाशनाथ टेम्पल. ऐसे कई सारे मंदिर बनवाए. ठीक है, डन. Completed. So now we have to understand, we have to explain these 7 Rathas temple, which we will complete after writing about Chalukyas also. तो अब क्या करते हैं, चालुक्यास का भी हम एक बार ये जो टोटल उनका जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है वो लिख लेते हैं, फिर एक एक करके इनको एक्सप्लेन करना शुरू करेंगे, इनके आर्किटेक्चर को एक्सप्लेन करना शुरू करेंगे. ठीक है, प्लीज राइट डाउन द हेडिंग चालुक्यास. जो अभी हमने लिखा है अबाउट पल्लवास, हमें यही एक्सप्लेन करना है और दिस इज देयर कंट्रीब्यूशन. जो 7 रथा टेम्पल स्ट्रक्चरल टेम्पल्स हैं कई सारे, और इन 7 रथा टेम्पल के अलावा भी कई सारे उनके स्टोन टेम्पल्स और हैं, पर ये रथास टेम्पल ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसलिए हम इनका आर्किटेक्चर ज्यादा पढ़ते हैं. ठीक है, चलो अगला हेडिंग डालो चालुक्यास. प्लीज राइट डाउन द वर्ड चालुक्यास. लिखो चालुक्यास के बारे में. At least approx 70 temples in Aihole. बहुत शॉर्ट में कर लेते हैं इसको, बाद में एक्सप्लेन करेंगे. Since it is the architecture वाला portion, it needs bit elaboration. So we are trying to concisely write it first. So first is at least 70 temples in Aihole, Aihole, from about 610 AD. So this is about Chalukyas. They have around 70 temples in Aihole. This was our first point, starting from 610 AD, right? Now, the second contribution is there is a place called Pattadakkal. This place itself has around 10 temples. This place Pattadakkal has around 10 temples. Please jot it down. Pattadakkal has around 10 temples. Third, अच्छा ये जो 10 मंदिर है इसमें एक लाइन और जोड़ लो. Some of the famous temples out of these 10, yani the number of temples which are 10 in numbers at the place called Pattadakkal, among those 10 temples there are some very famous temples. Please write down their names. The first one is Papanath temple and then Virupaksha temple. Papanath and Virupaksha. Virupaksha temple. You can jot it down like this, that out of these 10 temples at Pattadakkal, some very famous temples are Papanath temple and Virupaksha temple. This was around 680 AD, perhaps. Galagnath, this is also there, but I told you na, we are just writing one or two. So example के तौर पे सिर्फ एक दो.
So यहाँ की, so the one of the most important thing that has been observed here, which is not observed in most of the places, कि यहाँ पे हमें तीनों स्टाइल देखने को मिलते हैं. As in नागर स्टाइल भी यहीं पर देखने को मिला है, वेसर भी, and even द्रविड़. in this group of monuments. Yes.
Okay. Third point, please write down. 70 temples. This is done. Product collection. You can jot down. Please write the cave temples of cave temples of लिख रहे हैं धीमे धीमे. Please write down the next point. The cave temples of Hindu gods, comma, imitation to Buddhist and Jains has been found. Next, some temples in Karnataka, under Chalukyas, were erected by Jaina traders and merchants. Jain traders and merchants. Next, stone temples. Last point है, फिर इनको explain करते हैं. Stone temples of Shiva at Meguti. Underline this term, Meguti. Stone temples of Shiva at Meguti. Stone temples of Shiva at Meguti has prashastis of Pulcation 2. मंदिर किसके हैं? चालुक्यास के. और चालुक्यास में फेमस किंग कौन है? पुलकेशन 2. और हम पढ़ रहे हैं ये बुद्धिज्म से जो है प्रेरित है. अपने आर्किटेक्चर को बुद्धिज्म से भी, हिंदू गॉड से भी सबसे प्रेरणा लेके बना रहे. तो बुद्धिज्म में क्या था? हम चैत्यास देखते थे, आया ना? तो चैत्यास में क्या होता था? व्हाट इज चैत्यास एट कारले? व्हाट इज देयर इन चैत्यास एट कारले? जो सबसे फेमस चैत्या है कारले का, क्या वहां पे मिलता है हमें? Chaityas are prayer hall that you know. I know. Biharas are the residential places of Buddhist monks. That is different thing. I am asking चैत्यास जो बनाए जाते थे उसमें जो बुद्धिज्म से रिलेटेड monks होते थे, उनके जो प्रशस्तिज हैं वो उसके सेंटर के नीचे दफन होती. हमने पढ़ा ऐसा कुछ. Same has been adopted or imitated by these kings in the Chalukyan temples. They are also trying to put prashastis of their king below that temple or below that structure. So here also the stone temple of Shiva का मंदिर, शिवा का stone temple है, लेकिन वहां पे प्रशस्तिज किसकी दफन है? पुलकेशन 2 की. अब इन चीजों को धीमे धीमे एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश करते हैं. एनी पॉइंट दैट यू हैव इन माइंड, anything that you want to ask, anything you want to add so that we can explain it further, we can take it further? Should be. अच्छा, लैंड ग्रांट जो टेम्पल्स के लिए है वो तो बहुत आम हो चुकी है, आपको पता है. तो दिस इज द कॉमन पॉइंट दैट यू कैन राइट एनीवेयर that the land grant to temples was a common practice now. Very good. It was a common practice now. Brahmadeya क्या था? The land that was granted to Brahman, but it was not for agricultural purposes. He can use it to make the residential place for monks or for sadhus. He can make it to prepare to construct a temple there. वहाँ पे वो आश्रम बना सकते हैं, कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, but for mostly for religious purposes, for the see, for that purpose it said the temple construction was very common, but it was not for agriculture. So for that agrarian concept, there was the second concept जहाँ पे हमने पढ़ा था, one was Brahmadeya and the second one was Agrahara. So Agrahara villages were those villages which were also given to Brahmanas, but for the sake of the agriculture. Got it? Chalo. Now we can explain the construction वाला portion of this. उसके बाद फिर हम administration उठाएंगे जब और सभा नगरम ये सारी चीजें, तो it's better to complete this construction first. So first write down the heading Pallavas again. We are going to explain the construction of Pallavas, right? Sure. I have some notes for you. Earlier, I was thinking to circulate these notes, to send these notes so that you can read it at home. But I found it's okay. We will write it. I will dictate. It's better. Which one is better? This approach is okay. Now we can write. We can understand also in the class itself. Okay. Chalo. Chalukyan architecture. What I'm saying is how you can make this architecture wala portion easy. See, sometimes it is very difficult that you can understand and you can recall all the points during the examination. So what I advise you, that the way I have written it in 3 points. First point was 70 temples at Ehul. Second was at Patadakkal we found 10 temples, and among those 10 temples, Papanath and Virupaksha temple are famous temples. And third point was the stone temple of Shiva at Maguti. It contains the Prashastis of Abhishek II. So I have 3 bullets, 3 important points as far as Chalukyas are concerned. If you revise these 3 points before the examination also, you will not get confused, because while you will start writing the answer, you will be having this point, then this point, then this point. Things are not scattered. They are, sorry, things are not scattered here. They are at one single place, and you know that there were 3 points. I am missing 1 point. Got it? After this, when we reach towards this Pallavas wala portion, we had the understanding that 7 Rathas temple are at Mamalipuram, which are the famous stone temples out of other many stone temples. Got the statement? There are many stone temples, out of which 7 Ratha temples are, they are famous, they are more popular. Then uh, Pallavas also constructed structural temples. Pallavas also constructed structural temples. अब structural temple का कोई example कैलाशनाथ temple आपने दे दिया, ठीक है? So if you will do like this, you will be having limited number of points to write down, and like this you will not easily forget what you have to jot down and what you have not. Suppose you are missing some point, so your brain will alert you twice or thrice that there is something which is missing. So you will try to recall some of the points, and if you will not get all, you will get maximum. Got it? So the same way, when we have started explaining the Chalukyas now from this heading itself, तो उस explanation में भी try to keep some important points in the form of the bullets, so that you can understand that I am missing something in the architecture wala portion. ठीक है? In whatever topic you cover regarding the architecture, you do like this. Please write down some of the points in this Chalukyan wala architecture में. First is the Chalukya rulers. The Chalukya rulers were staunch Brahmanists. Chalukyas. सब खुद को ब्राह्मण बता रहे हैं, सब के सब. They were the staunch Brahmins. Next is, though their art though their art, though the art, though the art means Chalukyan art may be patronized by rulers, though the art may be patronized by rulers, but it belonged to the common man, but it belonged to the people. ये हो गया फर्स्ट डिफरेंस. Second, the art of any period can't be isolated from the period preceding to it or following it. Got it? Art of any period, it cannot be isolated from the period before that and the period after that. It reflects those continuity in the periods. Okay, next. Among fine arts, it was primarily पेंटिंग ऑन आर्किटेक्चर. ये इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है. आर्किटेक्चर के ऊपर पेंटिंग ऑन आर्किटेक्चर फ्लरिश्ड अंडर चालुक्यास. पेंटिंग ऑन आर्किटेक्चर कंप्लीट हुआ, उसके ऊपर से फिर पेंटिंग. इट हैपेंड ड्यूरिंग चालुक्यास. Next, the buildings of excavated cave temples of Hindu gods the buildings of excavated cave temples of Hindu gods are in imitation to Buddhist and Jain counterparts. Bas. What we have written? 4 points. First one was, though the rulers patronized the arts, but the art belonged to the people. आम आदमी. Second point was, किसी भी पीरियड का, किसी भी समय का जो आर्ट है वो उससे आगे और उसके बाद वाले आर्ट को रिफ्लेक्ट करता है. वो आइसोलेट नहीं हो सकता उस टाइम पीरियड से. No painting, no art is isolated in itself. Third point was, Chalukyas were known for their different style, which was painting on architecture. It developed during them. They were staunch Brahmanist, पक्के और कट्टर ब्राह्मण थे. बोला जा रहा है, क्या कर सकते हैं? We have to support. Otherwise, we do also know who were they. Okay, and the next was that the buildings that we have found out of excavated cave temples. तो वो जो गुफा मंदिर है, वो जो केव टेम्पल्स हैं जो हमें मिले हैं खुदाई के बाद मटेरियल रिमेन्स में, उनकी जो बिल्डिंग है उन बिल्डिंग में मोस्टली जो है हिंदू गॉड्स जो आपको मिलेंगे वो बुद्धिस्ट और जैन जो गुरु होते हैं उनके काउंटर पार्ट की तुलना में उनका प्रभाव उन हिंदू गॉड पे मिलेगा आपको। जैसे अभी थोड़ी देर पहले हमने पढ़ा, जैसे चैत्या जेट कार्ले हैं, तो वहां से इंफ्लुएंस होके किसी एक हिंदू टेम्पल के नीचे प्रशस्ति जो है वो किसी रूलर की, एंड द रूलर बिलोंग टू द चालुक्यन टाइम पीरियड, so the prasastis belong to the ruler and those prasastis are found in that chaitya. Got it? But here it is not a chaitya, but still influenced by that chaitya. It's a temple, Shiva temple. Got it? तो influence जो है वो आपको मिलेगा, वो प्रभाव मिलेगा। ये जो भी buildings हैं, जो भी हिंदू gods हैं, they will have the influence of Buddhist and their Jain counterparts. Fourth point. Next. Fifth. Have you written all these points? Are you done with it? Am I audible? Am I audible, Deepak? Okay. Uh, I thought it got disconnected. So, have you written some of the points? Where was I?
Sir, we did till this buildings of excavated cave temples of Hindu gods and this Buddha and Jaina counterparts.
ठीक है. They were influenced by their Jain. Mrigank is not getting the connection. I think, I don't know. He's facing some issue. Okay, chalo. Is it okay, Mrigank? Are you facing some issue? Connection error or some technical error, something? System update. Okay, okay, okay. Sure. So we have written some of the points regarding the Chalukyan architecture. इसी को फिर हम आगे बढ़ाते हैं. Please write down. Should I write or should I dictate only? You want me to write on the screen? Okay, okay, okay. Chalo, thank you. So next point we can cover like this. We have already written that, but you still continue. One of the earliest works, please write down. One of the earliest work of this class. कौन सा क्लास जहाँ पे इमिटेशन मिलता है उस क्लास का मतलब I am dictating you the same continuation इसी वाले पॉइंट का जो अभी हमने लिखा था, तो इसी में आप फॉर एग्जांपल करके डाल दो अगर आपको इजी लगे तो. For example, and then continue. One of the earliest work of this style or this class, one of the earliest work of this class was in the honor of Vishnu, in the honor of Vishnu by Mangalesh Chalukya. Mangalesh Chalukya at close to 600 AD, close to 600 AD. Mangalesh Chalukya, I'll write Mangalesh Chalukya. This is the name of the king. Close to 600 AD at Badami. At Badami. So there was a temple that was constructed at Badami by Mangalesh Chalukya, and this is one of the example of the imitation style, where the Hindu gods will be imitated as per Buddhist and Jainist counterparts. Got it? तो हम स्टाइल लिखते जा रहे हैं, चेंज लिखते जा रहे हैं, और उसके साथ साथ एक एक एग्जांपल देते जा रहे हैं. So it will be good. If you are writing, it will be easy for the examiner to check, to connect. चलो अगला पॉइंट और लिखो एक. Both Ajanta and Ellora. Both Ajanta and Ellora, both are situated in the dominions of Chalukyas. In the dominion of Chalukyas, are record of famous Chalukyan king Pulakeshin II. Famous Chalukyan king Pulakeshin II. Pulakeshin II. Done. Next is the beautiful stone temple of Shiva at Meguti. The beautiful stone temple of Shiva at Meguti. This is GUTL. Meguti. The beautiful beautiful stone temple of Shiva at Meguti, which shows the art of stone building. Art of stone building, which shows the art of stone building in its perfection. How a building made out of stone can be perfected. So this perfection in the art of stone building has been reflected from the Megati, where a stone temple of Shiva has been constructed. Okay? So we are praising, we are admiring the beauty of this stone temple, which is at Meguti, and this is dedicated to Shiva. Next, it's about the Vishnu temple. It's about the Vishnu temple at Aihole. Vishnu temple at Aihole. We have already covered some of the points where we are somewhere at some place admiring the style, admiring the beauty of the stone buildings. At some places we are admiring the Ajanta and Ellora, and then we have again understood that what are the distinctive features or the characteristics of Chalukyan culture, Chalukyan architecture. One of them was this point, painting on architecture. And then it is like if the Brahmanas, if the rulers are staunch Brahmanas, they will obviously, Mrigank is, okay, again, system update. Chalo. So, have you completed this point, completed this topic? Okay, it's done. I was in the comment section, at two places you were offline now, so I thought again you are offline. Chalo, it's okay. Have you written this statement, Vishnu temple at Aihole? Before that, is everything complete? Should I continue with the Vishnu temple at Aihole? Chalo, ठीक है. So Vishnu temple at Aihole. Write down. This is one of the best preserved. This is one of the best preserved temples. This is one of the best preserved temples. Next, it is built in a stone. Built in a stone. On a rock. It is built in a stone on a rock. अब इसकी ब्यूटी समझते हैं. Vishnu temple at Ahore. It is built on a stone, in a stone, on a rock. In Buddhist Chaitya. In Buddhist Chaitya. Hall style. I have told you that they were influenced by the Buddhist and Jainist construction. और उनका construction work था ही क्या? Either some king is trying to hewing out uh, the caves out of monolithic rock. That is not the work of the Buddhist. But when they are constructing, the construction of chaityas or viharas is taking place. So this construction is influencing the king to imitate some of the important concepts if he is impressed by them. So the same is being done by the king here. चैत्यास की कॉन्सेप्ट से उठाया गया और चैत्यास में कॉन्सेप्ट है क्या? एक आपका बहुत बड़ा सा डोम नुमा स्ट्रक्चर बनेगा और उसके बीचों बीच में ठीक नीचे जो है वो प्रशस्ति बिलोंगिंग द belongings of or the ashes, sometimes they were buried under that at the center. This was the main concept of chaityas, wasn't it, Deepak, Mridang? चैत्यास एट कार्ले में क्या है? यही तो है, कुछ और है ही नहीं. तो सेम चीजें यहाँ पे करने की कोशिश की जा रही है. सो दे आर इमिटेटिंग, अनुसरण कर रहे हैं, कॉपी करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. बट द ब्यूटी शुड बी एडमायर्ड. कौन सी ब्यूटी? दैट द स्ट्रक्चर इज बिल्ट ऑन स्टोन एंड दैट टू ऑन रॉक. सो दिस इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट. सी it looks easy, it appears easy, but to make it stabilize, to give it a beauty, to carve it out, to sharpen it, what to say, to take out, to draw. It's not to draw, it's not painting. कुछ मूर्तियां उकेरने वाली बात है ना, मतलब to carve out some of the designs out of stone earlier, which was again not easy. Here the things have become a bit more difficult, but still they are trying to beautify it. So in that sense, you can admire it. What we are trying to do, my main motive is I am trying to give you some bullets, some points which can be used anywhere regarding Chalukyan architecture. So we are already having 5 to 6. How many points have we jotted down? Please tell. 6 or 7. How many points have been done? Please count the number of points. How many points have been done in Chalukya's? Okay, 1 point और लिख लीजिए. Last point और हाँ, ये 1 point और लिखो. Please write down. The temple is distinguished. The temple is distinguished by its extraordinarily fine sculptures, where two super high flying devas are excellent in design and execution. What we are writing here and what does it mean? We are saying it is distinguished by its extraordinarily fine sculptures. And what is sculptures? Murti Kala. मूर्ति बनाने वाली आर्ट है ना. नाउ द नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट एड्स टू सुपर हाई फ्लाइंग देव. देव मतलब देवता, ठीक है. हाई फ्लाइंग मतलब उनके पंख होंगे, तो पंखों के साथ दो देवता उड़ते हुए दिखाई दिए जा रहे हैं, और ये स्कल्पचर के फॉर्म में कार्व आउट किया गया. मतलब आप इमेजिन करने की कोशिश करो कि देवता है और देवताओं के पंख हैं और देवता उड़ रहे हैं, और इस मूर्ति को उकेरने की कोशिश की गई है. इसको स्कल्पचर का नाम दिया गया है. मतलब कैन यू अंडरस्टैंड द ब्यूटी विद व्हिच दे माइट हैव बीन डिजाइन्ड. तो दिस वाज अगेन समथिंग. सी, किसी भी एक छोटी सी बिल्डिंग को, छोटे से मॉन्यूमेंट को, इफ यू वांट टू एक्सप्लेन, if you want to interpret, you hardly have variations in that, but still you have to explain it further in order to jot it down. What will you do? You have, suppose you have gone to okay, we are taking any park, any historical park. मान के चलो आप लोधी गार्डन गए या मुगल गार्डन गए, कहीं भी, तो वहां मुगल मॉन्यूमेंट मिलेगा, कोई ना छोटा सा स्पेसिमेन कोई सा आपने उठा लिया, या यहाँ पे लोधी गार्डन से कोई आपने छोटा सा टॉम या फिर कुछ भी आपने छोटा स्पेसिमेन उठा लिया जो उन्होंने ही बनाया होगा, राइट. अब आपको एज ए स्टूडेंट ऑफ हिस्ट्री इसको एक्सप्लेन करना है, तो आप उसकी नक्काशी को भी एक्सप्लेन करोगे, आप उसकी ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक डिजाइन को भी नोटिस करोगे, कहाँ ट्राइंगल बना है, कहाँ क्वाड्रिलेटरल बना है. आर यू गेटिंग इट? आप उसका प्रॉपर शेप भी डिजाइन करोगे कि यार ये ऑक्टेगोनल डोम है, अच्छा ये ऑक्टेगोनल दिख रही है. समझ में आ रहा है? आप जब उसके अंदर जाओगे तो उसके अंदर की डिजाइन, जैसे मान के चलो वो डबल डोम स्ट्रक्चर है या सिंगल डोम स्ट्रक्चर है, आप उसको भी नोटिस करोगे. Then again you will understand that if it is a dome, is it been supported by something, or it is the excellent design which is without the support. समझ में आ रहा है? जैसे मैं बना के दिखाता हूँ आपको. So all these points that we are writing, these are just the archaeologists who have said that yes, it's beautiful, but if it is beautiful, in what sense it is beautiful? So they are just explaining some of the observations that they have got from there, right? Suppose this is a dome and I am saying it is a double dome. ऐसे मान के चलो ऐसे बना दिया हमने, ऐसे कोई नाम नहीं दिया इसको. Now you please tell me, when it is a structure, where is the support for this dome? If it will not get the support, will it not come down? And again, this original dome, if it will not have a support, will it not come down? And the support is not visible. Or when you are looking it, when you are noticing from the point of view of an archaeologist, or from the point of view of somebody who is the admirer of these construction, these monuments, or somebody who is going to do some research on this, अब उसका देखने का तरीका अलग होगा. मान के चलो this is a brick, and then this is a brick, and then this is a brick, again a brick on the top of the brick. Now what is happening? Have a look. It is going round in shape, but its weight is divided half on the upper brick, and then on the upper brick, then on the upper brick. Now what is happening? The weight is transferring, the weight is distributing. The entire weight is not coming on one single portion of this dome, so it will not fall down. Similarly, when this has to be written and explained, it should be explained with beauty. Are you getting it? वही चीज हम यहाँ पे कर रहे हैं. See, there is nothing in a single temple more than the god or the chief deity and the house of that god, that deity. Now, we are having some of the dev, some of the gods who are in the mudra of flying. जैसे हमारे गरुण होते हैं, नहीं गरुण, हाँ गरुण थे. आपने गरुण देव देखे? जब सीता माता को रावण उठा के ले जा रही थी तो किसी ने मदद की थी. कौन थे वो? गिद्धराज. क्या नाम था उनका? जटायु. क्या बात है. So can you consider him as a god? And if you consider him as a god, he is flying. तो वैसे ही कुछ imagine कर लो. There is a god. There are two god actually. They are sculpturally very beautifully carved out, and they are flying. which is excellent in design. Okay, sure. Please write down one more point. Okay. This point says the Chaitya shell. Please write down. This will be the last point. बहुत कुछ है लिखने को, but I don't think so it is of very much use. थोड़ा सा हम पल्लवास कर लेंगे, वहाँ का जिस पढ़ लेंगे, and you will complete it. Have you seen any question which is very asking this architecture in very in great detail? ओके ओके, चलो फिर तो करते हैं इसको, फिर तो नो अदर ऑप्शन. आप भी इंटरेस्ट लो और मैं भी इंटरेस्ट ले रहा हूँ, फिर वी कैन राइट मोर अबाउट इट. चलो फिर तो लिखो आराम से. देखो द चैत्या शेल, द चैत्या शेल the Chaitya shell placed in a pillared hall, placed in a pillared hall with pradakshina path round the shrine, with pradakshina path round the shrine. Pradakshina path, मैं यहाँ पे लिख दे रहा हूँ प्रदक्षिणा पथ राउंड द श्राइन. श्राइन मतलब पूजा स्थल. इस पूजा स्थल के आसपास एक मार्ग, एक पथ, एक रास्ता बनाया जाता है. एंड देन दिस चैत्य शेल, शेल का मतलब क्या है? आवरण, कवरिंग, इस तरीके का. ठीक है. नाउ सपोज दिस इज अ पिलर्ड हॉल, राइट? Multiple pillars are there. They will not be outside, they will be inside. Multiple pillars are there in the hall. हाँ, मंडपास type. ठीक है. And it's kind of a shell. In that shell, the shrine which is there, in that near around that shrine, there will be a pradakshina path. So what we are trying to convey is, in this architecture, which already we have extensively understood, this is a kind of garbhagriha that when later we will understand in the South Indian construction, that garbhagriha, this concept, in the center will be the chief deity, in the center of that temple, and then that chief deity will be surrounded by the other minor gods. हाँ, ठीक है. So something like that. Here also, this is a Chaitya shell, and this shell has been a pillared hall. It's a play. See, I'm trying to repeat it again. There is a pillared hall. In that pillared hall, you will find that shell, Chaitya shell, and then the chief god or the chief deity who will be there in the shrine. Around him, there will be a pradakshina path. आपको सिर्फ ऐसे याद रखना है. ठीक है. Why I am emphasizing more on this? Because mostly the temple construction was taken on a large scale by these two, Pallavas and Chalukyas. Why? I have told you the reason, that the influence of Alvaras and Yanas. And if there is Vishnu, if there is Shiva, there has to be a house for them also, and this temple is the house for them. So they are trying to beautify it because they are the gods, and they have to get the protection, they have to get the shelter along with the minor gods also. So minor gods को कैसे आप जगह दोगे? तो they will be surrounding the chief deity, or they will be हाँ, तो प्रदक्षिणा पथ was the concept in that direction around the shrine. जो shrine है, मेन पूजा स्थल है, जो chief deity है, नियर बाई हिम there will be प्रदक्षिणा पथ. यहाँ तक क्लियर है? बहुत ज्यादा मुश्किल तो नहीं है? मुश्किल तो नहीं है बहुत ज्यादा. आपने दीपक हेबल का नाम सुना है? हेबल, एक्चुअली उनका ये डिस्क्रिप्शन थोड़ा सा टफ पड़ जाता है. हेबल, इनके अलावा हम भाषम को तो पढ़ते ही हैं. ठीक है. तो when I will explain something in the concept of okay, चलो कोई बात नहीं. But what I'm saying is, this is not very tough, right? See, this is the kind of presentation that somebody who is studying extensively that same structure, same building, कितने तरीकों से, कितने सुंदरता से वो उसको डिफाइन कर सकता है, ऐसा कि अगर आपने उसको पढ़ा तो आप एग्जैक्टली वैसा सोच सकते हो कि अच्छा इस तरह से है. इट इज सेम दैट यू हैव गॉन टू ताजमहल n number of times, या फॉर दैट मैटर एनी मुगल मोन्यूमेंट n number of times, बट आप जाते हो फोटो सेशन करा के वापस आ जाते हो. बढ़िया बढ़िया अलग अलग एंगल से हर मोन्यूमेंट की आपके पास फोटोज पड़ी हुई है, इतनी सारी फोटोज हैं कि आप बता नहीं सकते. फिर आप बोलते हो आई हैव गॉन टू दिस मॉन्यूमेंट्स मेनी टाइम्स, आई डू नॉट वांट टू गो देयर, बट somebody is going there for the sake of studying that monument. तो उसका पूरा टाइम एक सिंगल डोम के नीचे बैठ के उस पूरे डोम को समझने में और उसको एक्सप्लेन करने में निकल सकता है. इट इज नॉट वेरी वेरी सरप्राइजिंग. गॉट इट? Suppose somebody is telling you that there is the design of swastika on Taj, and then it is covered with floral designs. That means floral designs, swastika, and then something like kalash, and very idea कुछ कुरान में आयतें लिखी हुई हैं. मतलब what is all this? Sound is vibrating. Is it okay now? इंडिया में सबसे खास चीज क्या है? कोई आपसे बोले आवाज सही नहीं आ रही, तो थोड़ी देर बाद आप बोलो आप सही आ रही है, तो आंसर आता हाँ आप सही आ रही है, जबकि आपने कुछ नहीं किया है. ठीक है? प्लीज नोटिस दिस. Whenever you are on call, if somebody says I'm not getting your voice, you repeat, now is it okay? And you have not done anything, but it becomes all right. The same happened now. Mrigank was having some issue in the vibration, in the sound. I asked, is it fine now? And he replied, yes, it is fine. I didn't do anything. So it's okay. Today the topic is uh, regarding the construction, regarding the this uh, architecture. We have understood how many buildings, how many monuments are there. It might be vibrating, I understand. But see the quick solution that we got, and it was fixed so quickly. No administrative delay, no management delay, and you got the fixation very quickly, right? Chalo. Coming back to our Chalukyas wala portion. Here we are trying to understand some buildings. You tell me, are you finding it interesting to understand the architecture, how the design? Okay, if you are finding it interesting, then I'll make it little bit more interesting. Otherwise, I would have wrapped it up by adding some 8 to 10 points in the architecture of Chalukyas, and then we could have extended it further towards the Pallavas. But now, since you are taking the interest, I'm saying I'm taking you towards this analysis where I told you that you have been to these monuments many times, but if someone comes and tells you that you will find the swastika, you will find the kalash, you will find the floral designs along with the Quranic verses, which is a unique mixture of Arabic or Hindu tradition. Now, this is something unique. For the next time when you will go and visit the Mughal monuments, you'll notice these points, and then you will admire. So initially, तो बस photo session हुआ और आप चले आए. And for you, the background should be correct. It should be okay. You should have everything in the background, and the photo should be clicked in a proper fashion, right? But for the next time when you go to these monuments, you will study it. You will study it from the point of view of a student of history, right? Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I know that it's a personal problem with me, but sir, sometimes it seems frustrating that you are looking at like these thousands of people who have gathered there, and they are not the least bit interested in knowing about the monuments, just only about taking pictures.
Not at all. They are least interested because they do not know the beauty of the monuments. Being a student of history, you know all these points. Because you have analyzed you are studying the architecture. They are not studying the architecture. They are just for some light movements there. See, when they are planning to, when anyone is planning for a trip, what the options they do have. The options are either they are going to some natural park, and if they are not natural lovers, they will not choose. See again, I'm telling you, तीन types है ना हमारे पास, एक है national parks or wildlife sanctuaries, and then you do have biosphere reserves. So if you are a student, if you are the nature lover, you will be choosing some parks like this. Either you will go and visit national parks or wildlife sanctuaries or the biosphere reserves. If not this, then you will be loving the historical monuments. So you will be choosing the historical monuments to go, but you are not going for studying that monument, right? You are going to have some light movements because it is the one of the destination which you have found out to be that it will be bit better where you can chill out. It is a historical monument. It is covered by the parks all around, and it has been maintained, managed very properly by ASI, Archaeological Survey of India. I will not talk about how Archaeological Survey of India preserves the
Frustrating in the
monuments.
sense. So frustrating in the sense as in I don't expect everyone to go there with the
Yes.
inquisitorial mind कि भैया जाके हमको सीखना है वहाँ पे. हाँ. Instead of basking in the beauty of this monument. So but then they majority of them are the same people then who will go and post on YouTube or WhatsApp or या फिर Facebook में कि that this is the richness of India, this is this purely this without having a historical background. They will
Yes.
see ताजमहल पे उन्होंने अगर चंद्र देख लिया, they will say that it was actually an ancient Shiva temple named Tejo Mahalya.
Have you ever noticed even the guides who are there in these historical monuments, how
Sir, they are not aware.
portray?
Yes.
Well, I'm telling you one day what happened. Normally when you'll go and you'll be surrounded by these guides, and the kind of stories they do tell, they do not have any historical significance, and they are not even corroborated by any of the sources there. I was there being a localite. I was in Agra, and then I was with my friends. I took them. They came from outside. They were South Indians, right? So there was a guy who came thinking that we are not from the local region. So he was like, "Okay, can I accompany you?" I was like, "What you are going to tell us something that is different?" So he gave me an example that in the same courtyard where we are standing, the wives of the kings or the Mughal kings, they used to take bath, something like this. Here she used to sit और कबूतरों को दाना खिलाती थी, मतलब कुछ भी. I was like, sir, you please go. I will give the required information which is needed and which is a bit authenticated. So what I'm telling you, whenever you are going to visit any of the monument and you plan a trip for any historical monument, please make sure that for 1 or 1.5 hours, please try to study something regarding that monument. Only then you will be able to admire it. The way we are admiring the architecture of Chalukyas now, see, we are having some of these statements which are just giving us an idea that how beautifully these structures, these buildings, these architectures were designed. And for that example only, the very first example, when it comes to our mind, please tell me what is the first thought that strikes your mind when I talk about stone temples. मैंने बोला stone temple. What does it mean? What comes to your mind at the very first instance? How will you define a stone temple? Matlab, suppose you are the king and somebody has put forward a thought, sir, why don't we construct stone temples? And anyway, this is all about prestige, right? I have told you that prestige was one of the biggest option there, one of the biggest point there, that they were doing a lot of things just out of prestige. Got it? Now, somebody told you that, sir, why don't we construct stone temple? We do not find it anywhere else, and it will be very, very effective for our prestige. Now, you tell me, how will you construct the stone temple? Stone matlab patthar se. You will go and collect the big boulders. Is it easy to bring those big boulders from the quarry to the to the site where you want to construct a temple, and then you want to resemble this somewhat resembles with the Mauryas, right? वहाँ पे भी हम बड़े monolithic rock को काट के वहाँ से हम बहुत सारे polished pillars बनाने के लिए उनको बहुत लंबी दूरी तक ले जाते थे. Got it? So something like that. Now here in stone temples, what might have been the challenges And you please tell, if you are creating a stone temple, is it very easy to construct? No, it is not. And then beautifying it again, it's again very different, very difficult. Parallelly, on the temple walls, they used to they used to inscribe many of the information, much of the information regarding that. So all this, when studying in detail, gives us the idea that what was the beauty, or what was the level of the beauty of these architectural buildings. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's directly come to the next topic, which can be, as it is jotted down in the examination, if a question related to this is being asked, right? लास्ट पॉइंट में कुछ बार रिमाइंड करो जो हमने लिखा था नोट्स में. Last point that we have written in the notes.
We read the last point of this Chalukyan architecture: the Chaitya shell placed in pillar hod, Pradakshina path round the shrine.
ठीक है. Next point, not very far from the Badami, not very far from Badami, not very far from Badami, Virupaksha temple, the famous Virupaksha temple at Patadakkal. Remember, at Patadakkal we have more than 10 temples. At Patadakkal. Not far from Badami, the Virupaksha temple at Patadakkal bears an inscription of King Vikramaditya. Bears an inscription of King Vikramaditya. King Vikramaditya. King Vikramaditya. Now we are going to explain this. In front of the Antaral. Now these are the words which are used by Hebel. तो हम ऐसे ही लिखते हैं. In front of Antaral. Antaral. In front of the Antaral. Antaral है hall of the priest. Hall of the priest, जहां मंदिर के पुजारी बैठे होंगे. आपको पता है ना, the priests, the brahmanas, they were given huge land grants, and they are the owner now of these temples. They are owning these temples. These temples belong to those priests, and they have now increased in fame, increased in prestige. There, a lot of prestige, a lot of fame has been added with their name, right? So now they are owning these temples, and all these construction, all these architectural designs are sometimes that are being done in the temples. The credit though goes to the king, but they are related to the common man, to the people. The region between Mandapa and Garbhagriha, Antara, that is known as Antara. That's why I told you, please write down that the Antara is the hall of the priest. Chalo, continue with the point. We have written in front of the Antaral, there is a pillar, there is a pillared mandapam. अब इसको quote unquote करना, pillared mandapam. We are talking about Virupaksha temple, and we are trying to explain its construction. I'm repeating it. Okay, it was at Patadakkal. Chalo, in front of Antaral, that is the hall of the priest, there is a pillared mandapam. What is mandapam? Or you write pillared mandapam, or meeting place of the people, or meeting place of the people, meeting place of the people. Pillared mandapam, or meeting place of the people. So it was in front of the Antaral. Antaral was hall of the priest, and the pillared mandapam, it here refers to the meeting place of the people, right? Chalo. So the next point is, It has beautiful it has, okay, I'm writing it. It has beautiful sculptural brackets. See, these are the terms you have to use. Do not simplify the construction. Do not simplify the architecture. If you do it, it will lose the beauty of the explanation. So these words have to be added. That's why I myself am referring these words from Hebel, from A.L. Basham. Got it? So these words are needed. Otherwise, this explanation becomes very, very simpler. Okay. Use this. The way I did not use the term Garbhagriha because it was not needed in this temple. So please do not write that also here. You should use the terms like Pradakshina Path. You should use the terms like pillared hall. So wherever the words are to be used, choose them wisely, right? This is regarding the construction. You have to use the name of these. I have told you Hebel, A.L. Basham and all, because it enriches the answer. And already you are going to write the answer for history option, and that too, the answer should reflect the beauty with which you have tried explaining it, right? So since the beginning, we have gone through this architecture today, and I found that you are a bit interested in this. That's why I'm taking it little bit further. I'm extending the explanation. For the time being, what you will do uh, after today's class will get over, please go through this entire architecture once again. We have not yet completed the Chalukyan architecture. We'll write one or two more points as the time will permit. Uh, at least one point we may jot down, and later on what we can do is, in tomorrow's class, in a very brief or in a very concise way, we will have a quick discussion over these Chalukyas, and then later on we can move towards the Pallavas. This will lead us towards the end of ancient Indian history, right? After that, as you said, as you requested, we can complete these sites. We can do some of the work on that, somewhere around 50 to 100, whatever number of sites we can complete. We'll do that along with the explanation, so that your first it should be to an extent covered. Yes, please.
सर ये प्लेसेस जो आपने दिए हम लोग मैप में ही मार्क कर लेना अभी ही,
हाँ, mark it in the map. This is, yes.
Yeah,
please tell.
so that some of the old questions I was looking at, and they have actually included these kind of places. In fact, Pattadakal was one of the questions in that 50 marks question of the optionals.
Whatever new names you find, whenever in explanation or in the notes, or whatever I dictate, whatever I narrate, whatever, even if you are reading a book, a textbook or a reference book, anything, wherever, even in NCERTs, जहाँ पे भी कोई भी नया शब्द मिले, उसको तुरंत मैप में locate करो. See, these all are the words which can be here and there, directly or indirectly, help you out while locating your sites in question number 1. Got it? तो अभी हमने जैसे पट्टादक्कल पढ़ा, आई होल पढ़ा, गो एंड लोकेट आई होल वेयर इट इज. पट्टादक्कल कहाँ पे है, पढ़ो इसको, ठीक है, इसको ढूंढो. उसके अलावा what else were the names that I think we have not gone through some other distinctive names, right? So this is not something that I should tell you, right? Megati जो हमने पढ़ा ना, Megati, try to search if you are able to find it out. If not, then we will try to find it out collectively. Like, हाँ, Batapi है हमारा, Badami है. Apart from that, what else are the sites, are the locations which are used in this today's session? If there is any, if we have already discussed something, please try to locate it. तो ये common है, understood है, right? जब भी ऐसा कुछ हो, तुरंत उस साइट को अंडरलाइन करो, जैसी क्लास खत्म हो उसको लोकेट करो और मैप में उसको जगह दो, ठीक है? After covering this ancient, we will be devoting 1 or 2 class to this, right? Don't worry for that. I myself will try to tell you that how many sites can we include, can we explain, can we study. This should be a collective effort from both of them also. What we can do is we can collectively try to cover somewhere around 100 sites, so that, and they will be mostly belonging to the ancient history only, because बाकी जो है medieval में जो आएंगी वो आप locate कर सकते हो. हाँ बताइए.
One suggestion, sir. South India की अगर छोड़ दे तो there are some of the places in the map which has been mentioned in the north, western India, eastern India, and sir उसके बारे में ज़्यादा points नहीं मिल पाता है. So can we just write one default point? It was once the part of Mauryan Empire because that is a safe point. क्योंकि ultimately ज़्यादातर सभी part Mauryan के ही थे. So that will add to our point. But would you advise it that we should do it? The point name.
I will not stop in one or two statement, one or two sentence. So I want to explain it with, see what happens is, if once I explain it in entirety, it does not need explanation later on, right? Otherwise, if one or two sentence, although they will not suffice, because you have to get an idea about this. That's why when today I started this architecture wala portion, initially I said we'll explain everything when we'll start it. So since now we are in our domain, we are in our architecture altogether, we are explaining whatever will come in the culture wala portion. So we are doing it and we will complete it in entirety, and then only we'll change, we will switch the topic. Now, when we come to the site, what will be my focus? As far as your question is concerned, since we are not getting much information regarding the North Indian sites, so obviously we do have to include some political information. I agree with that. For the time being, I'll give the agreement for that. Yes, you may include some political information, but wait till the next two classes. Rest I will be explaining there, because class timing is over. That's why I stopped making you write some of the points also that we have to include in Chalukyas. Chalukya is not yet over, right? You go through whatever we have studied today. Continue learning. We'll meet in the next class. Okay. Stay safe and stay healthy. Sure. We'll meet in the next class, right? Thank you. Thank you very much.